refuge. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. The four immeasurables, may all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and causes of suffering. May they never be separated from happiness, which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and causes of suffering. May they never be separated from happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and causes of suffering. May they never be separated from happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Mandala offering, an ocean of array of worlds, each with four continents and the wealth of infinite ocean of realms. If I bring them all to mind and offer them without exception, please hold with compassion all beings they contain, my body, enjoyments, and whatever I own, my aggregates, elements, and sources, as well as everything I grasp as mine, my aspirations now and the time to come. By offering them all, may I be blessed with the end of self-grasping, completely liberated from the bounds of real and unreal, transcending the names, attributes of arising, cessation, and abiding, coming and going, affirmation and denial. The Supreme Mandala is the natural state. By offering it, may I be blessed to attain a state of Buddhahood. Om Guru Devada Kini Ratna Mandala Prati. Supplication to Lord Jigten Sumgan, unequal refuge, ornament of the world, your fame pervades the 3,000 worlds. You are the victor of Vajrayana without a doubt. I bow at the feet of the Father, Jigten Sumgan. Continually I think of no one but you. Compassionate one, grant your blessings. Dispel the darkness that surrounds my heart. Bless me so that I may realize the unelaborate nature of mind. Request for teachings. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the two vehicles and their combination according to dispositions and likewise the mental capacities of sentient beings. Thank you.
Thank you. First, please, everybody, please relax. Expand your mind as limitless as the space. Then breathe in fully all the blessings of the Buddha. And exhale. Once more, please breathe in, inhale all the love and compassion of the Buddha. And exhale all our confusion. Once more, please inhale fully the Bodhicitta, the enlightened mind of the Buddha. And purifies our all negativities. And exhale. Now we are studying the precious book, The Jewel Ornament of Liberation, by Dharma Lord Gampopa. the enlightened master, whose coming was prophesied by Buddha in many sutras. Because of that, he physically manifests in the human form, and historically he studied thoroughly and practiced the Dharma, and through that he achieved the enlightenment, Buddhahood. From that enlightened state, from all pervading wisdom, out of great compassion, taught all these different Dharma teachings. Particularly, he wrote this precious book for the future generation as a path. If you have time to study many sutras, writings, commentaries by great other masters, it's wonderful, but at least we can study this book as a complete form of the, and in the nature of the sutra system. So now today we are now touching the chapter 9, cultivation of bodhicitta. So that's the now it's the special spiritual masters teaching those who don't know how to attain Buddhahood. So to dispel that confusion, then there's the introduction to the antidote to not knowing the practice, the method of practice. That is the bodhicitta. So now we have touched yesterday all the foundation, prerequisite, what is the prerequisite now before we actually cultivate bodhicitta. Now you see, bodhicitta is not something somewhere. It's your mind that we have the mind, and individually we have the mind. That mind itself is bodhicitta. But until we recognize it, we cannot take advantage of that. So in the samsara, that's what is called adventitious obscuration, the adventitious confusion, that all the contrived thoughts, the contrived mental activities, it surrounds the clear mind. So that makes the mind with not to recognize bodhicitta. Now here, through the Buddha's wisdom and skillful the teachings of these great masters, allow us to recognize your mind is the Buddha mind. That, everybody has the Buddha mind. So that mind itself is bodhicitta, is the foundation. And that foundation we take into the path, step by step. And then when we totally recognize that, it's called enlightened mind. So your very mind itself is nothing but bodhicitta. But that we have to recognize through these ceremonies, through the methods, skillful way. So here now I'll read from this, as mentioned, from this foundation, essence, classification, objectives, cause, from whom you receive it, so forth. There are 12 topics. From this, the second topic now, essence. Essence means what's the definition of bodhicitta? The essence of the bodhicitta. What's the definition of bodhicitta? what bodhicitta is about. Say, the essence or the definition or the cultivation of bodhicitta is the desire to achieve perfect, complete enlightenment for others' benefit. So there's a two, you see, or desire to attain Buddhahood. That's one purpose. And then the others benefit, all sentient beings benefit. It's two. So there's a two purpose: to help other sentient beings and to achieve oneself to attain Buddhahood. So the ornament of clear realization is Apisamaya Alankara. Cultivation of bodhicitta is the desire for perfect, complete enlightenment for others' benefit. So that's the Abhisamaya Alankara. You know, it's just a big book written by Maitreya. Then the third classification or division of the bodhicitta. First, you understand what bodhicitta is about. What's the definition of that? To want to attain Buddhahood for others' benefit. Now, what's the division, classification? What type of is there? But here, there are three classification or division within the subject of cultivating supreme enlightenment. A, simile, analogy, and B, demarcation, and C, primary characteristics, primary reality nature of the bodhicitta. A, simile, the first bodhicitta was classified, made a division through examples, the analogies, ranging from ordinary beings to Buddhahood by Maitreya. Now they are called Maitreya has their called. There are five different texts written by Maitreya, which is given to Asanga. So this is the first one. It's the ornament of clear realization, Abhisamaya Alankara. Now these are the 22, there are 22 simile or analogy or example. Earth, gold, so earth-like bodhicitta, gold-like bodhicitta, and moon, fire, treasure, jewel mine, ocean, Vajra, mountain, medicine, spiritual master, wish-fulfilling jewel, sun, melody, king, or king, or like a president, treasury, highway, conveyance, world, water, which you build to water, well, elegant sound, river, and cloud. So thus, these are the 22 similes. So that now you can read them and study them step by step from the beginning to the Buddhahood. So it doesn't make much sense if I read all of them here. Because it's in these 22 similes, analogy ranging from sincere aspiration to realization of the Dharmakayas, right from the beginning to the Buddhahood, Dharmakaya. Furthermore, they will be related to the 5 paths. So there's a Buddhist thought, there's a 5 path which we'll explain later. The path of accumulation, the path of preparation or application, then special insight part, and the part of meditation, and the part of perfection. So these all are described within these 5 parts. So I will not go through this step or this. As I mentioned, you just read, like see, is like the first one. Earnest desire to achieve enlightenment is like the earth, because it is the basis for all virtuous qualities. Earnest desire, your pure wish, desire to Buddhahood, to achieve Buddhahood. Now there's no second thought. You are totally now decided to attain Buddhahood. So that first beginning of that practice of the bodhicitta is like the, it is like the earth. It's a foundation, basis. From there, you start, study, practice the Dharma teaching step by step to attain Buddhahood. And through that, we make the progress. In other words, we purify all our adventitious obscurations slowly, cleansing the inveterate propensity, the habit that which are deeply rooted. So we need a lot of patience, patience, courage to do these practices. So from there, then one will achieve the Buddhahood. Then we go to the B. If the book is same page, 149. Thus, these 22 simile encompass everything from the ordinary level to the Buddha state. Now, B, demarcation, the division or the classification, the demarcation. There are 4 classes of demarcation within that subject. The cultivation of the bodhicitta with interest. Here, interest, motivation. You are motivated to cultivate the bodhicitta. Your interest is so strong without flinching. The cultivation of bodhicitta, second, the cultivation of bodhicitta with altruistic thought, then your mind is more kind of strong, also stronger, helping others, no fear, no doubt. See, the cultivation of bodhicitta in full maturation, then the practice becomes so you got used to it. Your practice is one with the bodhicitta. Now there's no separation. Your whole being is within in the dimension of the bodhicitta. And then the cultivation of bodhicitta with the removed veils. So then bodhicitta, no any obscuration whatsoever left, totally free from all this adventitious defilement, totally perfect in the practice. So these are the 4 within in the demarcation. See? Now the first one is the level of interested behavior. You are so interested in the Bodhisattva's practice, Bodhisattva's conduct. So this is the one that I need for my own benefit and for all other sentient beings' benefit. So there's no other no alternative in the universe when I look around. So that's the first one. The second one extend from the first to the seventh bhumi. The second one is now because of you have such a strong motivation, interest, you follow into the path. Then the path of the accumulation, path of the preparation, with the coordination of the samadhi, meditative concentration, and special insight, they come together. They co-emerge, coming together, synchronized, and then uproots the root cause of the samsara. You see the total basic disposition of all the phenomena. See, that is such a clear. So from there, so from that first bhumi is called, from the first bhumi to the seventh bhumi, and that is called the second one. We move, okay. First to the seventh bhumi. The third one ranges from the 8th to the 10th bhumi, Bodhisattva. Now, from the 7th, you now cross one level, you achieve the 8th bhumi. From 8th bhumi to the 10th bhumi, then your bodhicitta is totally become workable. You have such a capacity, ability to benefit sentient beings. It's your mind, the mind that we have right from the beginning. That mind itself is now become workable because you are free from all this adventitious defilement. The habit of the samsara is now purified more. Then, so the fourth one is the level of the Buddhahood. Now free from all the veil, removed veils. Buddhahood is the perfection of the purification and the perfection of the accomplishment of all the excellent qualities. So this is how demarcated through these levels, from the first path of accumulation to the path to the preparation. Second, from the first bhumi to the seventh bhumi. Third, from 8th bhumi to the 10th bhumi. And the fourth, the last Buddhahood. Thus, the ornament of Mahayana Sutra says, cultivation of enlightened attitude, motivation, is accompanied at the various levels by interest, devotion, altruistic thought, full maturation, and likewise abandonment of the veils. And now see primary characteristics. There are two classifications of primary characteristics, two divisions. There are ultimate bodhicitta and relative bodhicitta. As you know all this, we have kind of talking this so much. Now here, now we know this too. The clarification of Talk Sutra says, Bodha Companion, there are two classes, two divisions of bodhicitta, the ultimate bodhicitta and relative bodhicitta. This is the direct teaching from Buddha. What is ultimate bodhicitta? So it's now very important. We talked so much about the ultimate bodhicitta, relative bodhicitta, but we have not so much good idea what really ultimate bodhicitta is about and what relative bodhicitta is about. Now here is explaining, it is pervading emptiness. See, that ultimate bodhicitta is pervading emptiness. Here, pervading emptiness, we translate that way. The emptiness is not something we are negating that exists, something which exists, and then we try to negate that. It's not that point. Here, pervading emptiness, the emptiness is the reality nature of all the relative nature. All the relative phenomena are naturally their nature itself is emptiness. So emptiness is pervaded, is their nature. So say emptiness endowed with the essence of compassion, you see. It's not something dry, empty mind, but endowed, ornamented, is totally rich with compassion. That compassion is, as earlier we have studied, is called non-objectified compassion or non-referential compassion. See? So that mind is so clear. There's no any obstruction. Unmoving means the samadhi is strong. So we all meditators try to achieve the good samadhi, meditative concentration. Mind is in the clear, but these disturbing thoughts are not disturb that mind, unmoving, unshakable, and free from elaboration means you can see the pervading emptiness of all phenomena. So see, the same sutra says now, this Gampopa's explanation from the sutra, now it says this, the mind of ultimate enlightenment is beyond world. The world means this samsaric is beyond the samsara, free from all elaboration, supremely pure means all in that very mind itself, no confusion can exist. Totally pure. Subject of the ultimate, it can be only perceived or realized by the ultimate mind, not by relative mind. Stainless, no obscuration, unmoving, and very clear, like the continuity of a lamp, sheltered from the wind, like a lamp or light, a candle light, no any wind, then that is not moving. It's so clear. It shines brightly. So that's the ultimate bodhicitta. So that mind itself is your mind. If we could recognize, it's not something that we're getting from somewhere outside, but that's your own mind. But realize through this method, the samadhi and the wisdom. Now next, what is relative bodhicitta? The same sutra says, relative bodhicitta vows to liberate all sentient beings from suffering through compassion. See. Now, relative bodhicitta is a commitment. You made a vow I will attain Buddhahood to liberate sentient beings from the suffering. So that is accompanied by the compassion. So your mind is totally endowed with compassion, and then with the support of the wisdom, then you cultivate that mind to attain Buddhahood to benefit all sentient beings. So that's the relative bodhicitta. Okay. So you see how the mind is so precious. As I mentioned repeatedly, no, it's not something, a religious training. It is something that everybody require to study and practice this for our own benefit, for our own interest, and for the benefit of all sentient beings. Now here, ultimate bodhicitta is obtained through the realization of Dhammata. You see, Dhammata, Dhamma as such, as it is, unfabricated, uncontrived, through the, just I mentioned, through the synchronicity of the samadhi and prajna, wisdom. We achieve that. Where relative bodhicitta is obtained through the ritual ceremony, as we did the ceremony. This is stated in the Ornament of Mahayana Sutra, at which stage does ultimate bodhicitta arise? At the first bhumi, called great joy, and above. So ultimate bodhicitta is above the first bhumi, from great joy to the 10th and to the Buddhahood. This is stated in the commentary to the Ornament of Mahayana Sutra. Ultimate bodhicitta is from the first bhumi, great joy. Now, there are two classifications of relative bodhicitta. Now, relative bodhicitta, now, sir, how many there are? So there are two primary, now there are two primary classification or division. Okay. Aspiration bodhicitta and the action bodhicitta. Now these are very clear to you. We have studied this or talked about this so much. Engaging in the contact of bodhisattva, bodhicharya avatara says, in brief, bodhicitta, this bodhicitta, relative bodhicitta, should be understood to be of two types. The mind that aspires to awaken, and the mind that ventures to do so. So the first mind, you are so aspire to achieve that Buddhahood. You desire to attain Buddhahood. The second one, you are actually going, making journey towards that goal of the Buddhahood. There are many different views of the difference between these two, aspiration and entering into action. So this is very good, entering into action, you say. This action bodhicitta. You are entering into the path for journey. First, you desire. Today, I want to go to this such place. You aspire to go there. You are interested to go there. Now, action bodhicitta, now you're starting, preparing, and making steps, to get to that goal. Now there are so many great masters, they have explanation. This is that, this is that. Then sometimes they dispute each other, say your way is not right, but this way is not right. My way is the right one. So because of this, there's so many explanations about this true mind. But here, Gampopa is now following into two great paths or lineage from Buddha. In the lineage held by Shantideva, who was a disciple of Nagarjuna's lineage, who originated with the Arya Manjushri, from Buddha, Manjushri to Nagarjuna. Aspiration is like a wish to go in a certain place. A contemplation on the desire to achieve the complete Buddhahood. That's the first one. Action is like the actual going, taking action to accomplish the goal, engaging in the conduct of the Bodhisattvas, says, as is understood by the distinction between us aspiring to go and actual going. So the wise understand in turn the distinction between these two. The wise who has a great wisdom, the study and practice of bodhicitta, and towards the enlightenment, Buddhahood. So you should understand this too. One wish to attain Buddhahood and one actual going this. Now this next, in the lineage held by Dharmakirti, this Dharmakirti is not a logician, great, famous logician Dharmakirti, it's not that. This Dharmakirti is from Indonesia, Lama Silingpa. He was a son of a king in Indonesia, became Buddhist, and then studied and became great teacher, special Mahayana teacher. So it's called Lama Silingpa Dharmakirti Chokitaba, which comes from Acharya Asanga, and which was founded by Arya Maitreya, from Buddha to Maitreya to Asanga to Dharmakirti. Aspiration is a commitment to achieve the fruition. So aspiration bodhicitta is, I will attain Buddhahood. Then the fruition is Buddhahood. I will achieve the perfect Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. The second one, entering into the action, is the commitment to the cause. See, first, I want to attain Buddhahood. Now, what do we should do? Practice, follow. I will perfect the practice of generosity. I will practice to perfect morality, so forth. So I will train in the 6 parameters, which are the causes of enlightenment. This same meaning is in the collection of the Abhidharma by Asanga. There are 2 types of bodhicitta, not special and special. First, not special. The not special attitude is thinking, oh, may I attain the unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment. And the second one, the special attitude is thinking, this way may I achieve the complete perfection of generosity and so forth to the perfection of the wisdom awareness. So basically, the same meaning, different expression, this different explanation. Thus, this completes the explanation of the simile, demarcation, and primary characteristics of bodhicitta. So this will help us now first the definition of bodhicitta, and then different classification, division of the bodhicitta gives us such a clear picture about the bodhicitta. See, these are so nicely put, not so many words, but very impact, real essence of the words put together. Okay, now number 4, objective. What was the when you practice this bodhicitta, what kind of objective we have? Now here's the objectives of bodhicitta are to achieve enlightenment and to benefit sentient beings. There's 2 projects. One is to attain enlightenment. The second is to benefit sentient beings. For these 2 purposes. Now, as you see, as we have discussed, when we have the country, the leader of the country, to make the country strong and to help the people. So this is the purpose of the leader. If he could do that, people will respect. And that is the purpose of being a leader. So same way, now in our Dharma study practice, why Dharma is so special, if you ask, why we need Dharma? We need Dharma because we all desire for peace and happiness. We need Dharma to free from the suffering. Now this suffering is not from outside. Here, within in the mind. The peace and happiness is not from somewhere outside coming, but we have to establish within in. So that's how Buddha taught the Bodhicitta, the mind, the universal mind, the great mind. See, make the person strong, courage, indefatigable, follow the path, do right things. So that you see, in the Bodhisattva Bhumi says, therefore, Bodhicitta has its objective enlightenment and sentient beings. The objective of enlightenment means searching for the primordial wisdom of the great vehicle. Searching is not searching outside somewhere, but looking in the mind. How your mind have this ability, quality. We study, we practice, meditate, meditate in the shamatha, meditate in the wisdom, looking, investigate, interrogate, interrogate all these negativities, get rid of them, So, the section on the cultivation of Bodhicitta in the Ornament of Mahayana Sutra says, is that right? Yes. Likewise, its objective is search for primordial wisdom. So, primordial wisdom means the mind as it is. We're not making our mind something different. We're just to find our mind, how it functions, without any contrivance, without confusion. See? This is the looking for the wisdom, the Buddha's wisdom, that what we have as it is and knowing everything. Now the second, the objective of sentient beings does not mean one sentient being or two or some, but rather it means all sentient beings who pervades wherever there is a space. Wherever there's space means as the space is limitless, sentient beings are limitless. See, wherever there's a sentient beings, wherever the sentient beings are pervaded, then by the karma and affliction emotion. Everywhere sentient beings there, everyone is afflicted, defiled by the karma and mental affliction. You see, now as I mentioned, it's amazing, you know. This teaching taught over 2,600 years, you know, in a small place. Now you can see the whole world is opened. You can go anywhere, everywhere. You can find the same mental afflictions, the three poison, you know, the ignorance, the aversion, and the attachment, desire. All five poisons, pride, jealousy, you see. How amazing, you see. Now they are saying, and they are pervaded by sufferings. You see, wherever there's a space, as limitless, there's a sentient beings. Wherever the sentient beings is pervaded by karma, cause, and mental affliction. Wherever there's mental afflictions, karma, then sentient beings are suffering, physically, mentally. All the obvious suffering, also unobvious suffering. See? Therefore, I cultivate the mind to dispel all these suffering. So here I'm cultivating the mind. I'm developing the mind. I'm generating this mind to benefit all sentient beings. So how amazing that is. For us to help one person is so difficult. So I said, I can't help that person. No, it's too much for me. Now I stay away from that. You know, so great Bodhisattvas are prepared to help every sentient beings wherever they are. There's no prejudice. How amazing that is, you see. The aspiration prayer for proper contact sutra says, limitless is this extent of space. Limitless is the number of the sentient beings, and limitless are the karma and delusion of beings. Such are the limit of my aspiration to help all sentient beings. Now, this is such precious. You know, it's amazing, you know. Okay, so this is the objective, the goal of the practice of bodhicitta. Now the number 5, cause. Is there any cause, or what are their kind of cause to develop bodhicitta? See, the causes for cultivation of bodhicitta are given in the 10 Dharma Sutra, Chuchube Do. That mind is cultivated through 4 causes. So in this, according to this one, there are 4 different causes. Not necessary to have all the causes, but any one of those causes, it becomes the cause to cultivate bodhicitta. As you see, seeing the beneficial effects of bodhicitta. Look at the beneficial effects of bodhicitta. As yesterday I've touched a little bit. Bodhicitta is the consummate path towards enlightenment. Bodhicitta embodies all the qualities that we needed. It is like the, as I mentioned, universal fire. It consumes all the defilement, the cause of suffering. Bodhicitta is like the sunshine. It dispels the darkness of our mind. Bodhicitta is a universal medicine. It heals all the chronic sickness of the mind, mental affliction. Bodhicitta is like the hero, victory from all the evil mental affliction. So by seeing these beneficial effects, one is encouraged to or become a cause to cultivate bodhicitta. And developing devotion for the thus born one. Looking at the Buddha, you see, oh, Buddha, you see, source of all the peace, happiness. So why Buddha is happened to be? So Buddha because of bodhicitta. Buddha practiced bodhicitta and achieved Buddhahood. Oh, I must cultivate bodhicitta. So that's one of the cause that to cultivate bodhicitta. Seeing the suffering of all sentient beings. Now look at the suffering in the world. Everywhere you see. So those people don't have the teachings, they're depressed. They're suffering so much. So now we are hopeless. What to do? No leader is doing enough to help the country to war. And people are suffering so much. You see, that's the reality. Now here when you come to bodhicitta, I can help all sentient beings by cultivating bodhicitta and practicing it in Buddhahood, maybe not this lifetime, not next lifetime, but eventually, yes, as Buddha did. There's no other alternative. No. So this is how the suffering, you see, that's why I said suffering is the direct, suffering is the direct cause to cultivate compassion and wisdom. Because of that, when you look at the suffering, all our anger, resentment can be purified. No place to left, no. So the suffering itself, looking at the physical and mental problem, but also cause of the suffering. Look at both. When you look at the both, then the deep, profound compassion can manifest. People are suffering because of their mental afflictions, from anger, from ignorance. Now I cannot follow them. I have to follow Buddha's wisdom. This way, you see, the seeing the suffering of sentient beings and inspiration of spiritual master. There are some great spiritual masters, inspire you to cultivate bodhicitta. Now you study, you practice, you cultivate bodhicitta. You must work towards enlightenment. So there are four those different causes can help us to cultivate bodhicitta. So very important point you see put here. Even though Buddha said so much about, but here Gampopa brought together very simple, very precise, direct, so that we can follow. Also, the Bodhisattva Bhumi state 4 causes. This from Asanga, you see. What are the 4 causes? The perfect noble family is the first cause for cultivation of bodhicitta. That means your awakening. Your Mayana family is awakened. That Mayana family is when it's awakened, then it becomes a direct cause to cultivate bodhicitta. To fully attain the bodhisattvas, and spiritual master is the second cause for cultivation of bodhicitta. So this is as earlier mentioned, the teacher inspire you. Buddha's teaching inspire you. Bodhisattva's teachings inspire you to cultivate bodhicitta. Cultivating compassion for all sentient beings is the third cause for cultivation of bodhicitta. So that's it. Having fearlessness towards the suffering of hardship that are the long suffering means fearlessness, you see, as earlier mentioned, when you realize emptiness, when you see the suffering of all sentient beings, like the demon, we are so afraid of the demons. You see, oh, there's a demon coming, or like say the Holy Ghost is coming. But when you have the wisdom, they are suffering. Where you are so afraid of? They are confused. They are suffering. So through that courageous mind and mind with the realization of the emptiness, no fear. So that fearlessness, you see, the fearlessness towards the suffering of the hardship. You have no fear, no matter what kind of great hardship you face. See, and that suffering is so long. It doesn't matter. In the Bodhisattva Avatar at the 10th chapter mentioned at the aspiration prayer at the end, as long as the sentient beings in the samsara, I will be with them. As long as the space endures, may I benefit sentient beings. You see, doesn't matter how long that may be. As you know, hardship that are long, means various types of suffering, and harsh suffering is so harsh and without interruption, like in the hell realm, in the denizen hell realm, it's the fourth. So the great compassion, looking at the suffering of sentient beings, is such a great cause to develop bodhicitta. Fourth cause for cultivation of bodhicitta. The Ornament of Mahayana Sutra says, bodhicitta, which arises from a proper ceremony, and ultimate bodhicitta have the 2 different causes. Due to the power of the friends and due to the power of friend, the friend, spiritual masters encourages you to develop bodhicitta. The power of the cause, you have developed a lot of merits, and power of the root virtue, the power of hearing, receiving Dharma teachings again and again, all through the virtuous tendencies. Bodhicitta appears as a stable or unstable. The stable bodhicitta is developed through the power of cause, power of root virtues, like this. And unstable means from the inspiration of friend. Because your friend asks you to develop bodhicitta, you say, okay, I'll do it. But after sometimes you may find difficult. Oh, I cannot do this. I give up, So unstable. Okay. When when it arises from a proper ceremony conducted by others. So this relative bodhicitta is cultivated, you develop through the ceremonies. The cultivation of bodhicitta, which is conducted by others, refers to the mind that is cultivated through the others' revelation, and that is the obtained through a proper ceremony. That is called relative bodhicitta. By the power of friends means to cultivate the bodhicitta mind through the advice of the spiritual masters. By the power of the cause means it developed through the power of the Mayana family. By the power of the root of virtue means to develop by strengthening its family, Mayana family. By the power of hearing means that when one hears different teachings, one also develops bodhicitta. By the power of the virtuous tendency, it means that in this life, one can develop bodhicitta by persistently hearing, holding, practicing, and so forth. Bodhicitta is unstable when developed through the power of the friends. All others arising from the cause and so forth are stable. The cause of the birth of ultimate bodhicitta. Now, what's the cause to cultivate ultimate bodhicitta? It is said, when the perfectly enlightened ones is pleased, you're persistent in the Dharma practice, especially in the Mahamudra practice. Buddha is pleased, seeing that your realization of Mahamudra is the ultimate bodhicitta. When the accumulation of merit and perfect wisdom is well gathered, when there is non-conceptual thought, perfect wisdom in the Dharma, that is the held to be ultimate bodhicitta. Having said that, here in other words, ultimate bodhicitta is achieved by reading scripture. First you study. Reading scripture means you study, meaning minor texts. Then you are so inspired. Then practicing means that what you are inspired, practicing, making offerings, accumulating great virtues, all this. And that, through this, you realize that realization of the emptiness is the cause to realize the ultimate bodhicitta. So these are the causes you see explained here. Now here, number 6. The 6, from whom you receive. Now the qualities of the teacher. There's some maybe I know, I'll read some. From what object does one obtain bodhicitta? From whom you can receive the bodhicitta, or cultivate bodhicitta, or receive the bodhisattva's vow. See, there are 2 systems, one with a spiritual master and one without. Okay. If there is no danger to one's life or precept, we should go to meet a spiritual master, even though it may be far. This means like Atisha, you see, from India, he sailed the boat, West Bengal, Bay of Bengal, ocean. Through that, he went to Indonesia for 13 months. It's far, There's no machine. It's, you just have to sail the boat, the ship, After 13 months, finally he arrived in Indonesia. And he met the Lama Silingpa there, Dhammakiddi. And then he received all this Bodhisattva's teaching there. So after he returning, he talks about the teachers that he met. But when he talks about the Lama Dhammakiddi Silingpa, tears built in his eyes. I have such a small bodhicitta because of that teacher. So precious. We talk Adisha still now. From the 10th century, he taught. We talk about him because he taught this precious teaching, bodhicitta. All the great masters, they talk about him, about his bodhicitta. So that's, you see, a fast. Okay. In order to take the Bodhisattva's vow, the qualification of the masters are skilled in conducting the Bodhisattva's vow ceremony, one, having received the Bodhisattva's vow himself, second, and kept it without declining, three, having the ability to display physical gesture. All these physical gestures can do this. And to speak, to talk. When it's very sick, cannot talk. Physical gesture cannot do. When it's very old, also cannot do. The training the gesture and to speak. Training this disciple with compassion and not being interested in wealth or offerings, how much he or she will give me the offerings, Instead, interest is to free sensuality from samsara. That's important. Offering is disciple's responsibility. Disciple has to have the responsibility to do all things what they need to do. And the master has to have the responsibility what to do to help the disciples. Individually, we have separate responsibilities. The lamp of path to enlightenment says, when Gampopa made an offering to Milarepa, 2 pieces of gold coin, Milarepa said, this old man doesn't agree with the gold. He said that. But he said, you take this back and you use for your provision, for your food and clothes during your retreat. No. And then Gampopa made a very nice brick tea offering to Milarepa. Milarepa said, I have no stove to boil tea. So now, those are their great teachers. They have that kind of ability, qualities. Now we are here, sink in the samsara, So poor, so weak, See these things, All the provisions are to sustain the body, this life. What do you need more than that? The lamp for the path to enlightenment, Adisha says, one should receive the vow from a noble spiritual master with the proper qualifications. Having skill in performing the ceremony, one. Having maintaining the vow and having patience and compassion to perform the ceremony. Such a one should be known as the qualified spiritual master. Now, Bodhisattva's booming, having generated the aspiration of a Bodhisattva, one must be harmonized with the Dharma, have taken the vow, have skill, and hold the ability to reveal meaning through speech, and have the ability to make others understand the meanings. Now, the teacher may be so great, but if he or she cannot explain, what's the benefit? No? So a great teacher who has all these qualities, at the same time have the ability to explain what about these things. So these are the qualifications of the teacher. Even if this kind of spiritual master were very close to us, but going there presented a danger to one's life or moral ethics, then that situation would be called the Lama or spiritual master does not exist. So the Lama, the teacher about it explained, and if there is a danger to go there to life or moral ethics, then this we call the spiritual master is not exist. Okay. Therefore, one can receive the aspiration or the action bodhicitta vow by reciting the liturgy for either aspiration or action bodhicitta 3 times from the bottom of one's heart in front of an image of the Dasgone Buddha. The Bodhisattva Bhumi says, in case there is no person, spiritual master, with these qualities, the Bodhisattva should properly take the precept related to the moral ethics of a Bodhisattva by himself, herself, in front of image of Dasgone one. If one can find neither, there's no spiritual master, there's no Buddha's image, neither a spiritual master nor an image, then one should clearly visualize the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in space and recite the aspiration or the action bodhicitta ceremony 3 times and receive it that way. Thus, the collection of transcendent instruction says, if this kind of spiritual master is not present, not there, clearly visualize the Buddha and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions and take the vow by your own power. Now, number 7, the method of the ceremony of the vow. There are diverse system of instruction from the lineage of the great scholar. Even though there are many, there are 2 systems will be presented here. These are the tradition of Shantideva from the lineage of Nagarjuna, which was founded by Arya Manjushri, and the B, that of Dharmakirti of Acharya Asanga school, which are founded by Arya Maitreya. Now, first, Shantideva. A. In Shantideva's tradition, which comes from Nagarjuna and was founded by Arya Manjushri, there are 3 topics: the preparation, the actual ceremony, and the conclusion. The first topic has 6 subdivisions: making offering, purifying the non-virtues, rejoicing in virtues, asking that the wheel of Dharma to be turned, beseeching not to take parinirvana, and the last one, and dedicating the virtue of the dedicating the root of virtue. Yeah. So these are now Gampopa describing step by step. So I don't have to read all of this. You read because it's not so difficult. Anyway, the first one, preparation, making offering, the A. So there, without object, statue or thanga, anything, you visualize all things that exist in the universe. Because the bodhicitta is achieved through the great accumulation of merit, not just by mere intellectual. So you, as mentioned, including your body, speech, mind, make offering to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas without exception. And then depending on the individual's realization, how much you can practice. Then see preparation objects. Then we go to this about A, A. Now B, please look at this. First it said, thus completes the explanation of making offerings. So if you make offering free from the three spheres, most precious, you gather a great virtue, merit, wisdom, which makes our life to cultivate bodhicitta much easier. Now, at the section of the purification, Gampopa explained so wisely. You read this all, and you can use this practice like Vajrasattva practice, using the four powers, so forth. But I will read for some extent. Purifying the non-virtues, generally speaking, virtues and non-virtues depends entirely on one's mental motivation. See, virtue and non-virtue is totally depends on the mind, not physically how much you do or not do. See, the mind is the sovereign, you see, the ruler, and the body and the speech are the servant. The precious jewel garland, Nagarjuna says, the mind precedes all dharmas. The mind goes ahead up before doing anything. Therefore, the mind is called sovereign. Therefore, when the mind is ruled by defilements, afflicting emotion of desire, aversion, and so forth, and so from this, the 5 heinous karma, negative karma, or the 5 action close to them, or the 10 non-virtues are committed. Vows and samayas are broken. We break the vows, we break the samayas because of this mental delusion, and so forth. Whether done by oneself or by asking others to do it, whether it's done by yourself or you're asking someone, can you kill that, say, can you steal that, like they're asking that, or rejoicing others' deeds, this called non-virtue. If somebody kills somebody, oh, that's good to kill, you rejoice, so this called non-virtue. Not only that, even if you hear the precious Dharma teachings, contemplate and meditate on it, it is still non-virtue if mind is overrun by afflicting emotion of desire and aversion. So you're meditating, chanting mantra, with full of desire, attachment, aversion. You chant mantra to kill somebody else. This is a non-virtue, Looks like, oh, he's chanting so much mantra, wonderful, But in the mind, see, totally opposite, First, here this teaching is so important. We watch this No, such a precious. The result of this is suffering. The precious garland, jewel garland, the Nagarjuna says, desire, aversion, ignorance, and the karma created thereby are non-virtue. All suffering come from non-virtue, and as do the Lawrence. All in the samsara, the suffering is there because of these three portions. And which goes to the round in the long run is also because of these three portions. See, very precise, clearly described. See, engaging in the context of the Bodhisattva, Shantideva says, how can I be surely free from unwholesomeness, the source of misery, continually day and night? Should I only consider this? You see, I must contemplate on this. I must practice Dharma with this kind of mind, whether I'm doing right or wrong. Always witness to yourself. Therefore, one should declare and purify all of one's non-virtue. Is it definite that there can be purified by conditioning? Gampopa said, yes, very much so. The Sutra of the Great Parinirvana says, Buddha says, if one purifies evil deeds through remorse and repairs them, they are purified. As muddy water is cleaned by the touch of the water jewel, this called special jewel called water jewel. By that jewel touch, water has become so clean. Or as the moon shines after being freed from the clouds. Therefore, if you feel remorse for evil deeds and confess without hiding, any amount would be purified. No matter what kind of heavy negative karma is there, dense, if you not hide, reveal, and purify, there can be purified. How should one purify? Purify through the doors of the four types of power, showing the four Dharma. Sutra says, Maitreya, when a Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, possesses the four power, evil deeds and their accumulation would be defeated by them. See, no matter what kind of evil deeds we have, negative karma we have accumulated, non-virtue we have accumulated, so all can be purified by these four powers. Now, what are they? What are those four powers? They are power of remorse. So first, the power of remorse is very important. Without remorse, there will be no power of antidote, reliance, resolve. So first, power of the remorse means acknowledging mistake that we have made. I made the mistake, which is the direct cause for the suffering, this life, next life. So we remorse that that's not right. Like if you drink a poison without knowing, and immediately you understood, you have such great remorse. You try everything to get that poison out. So power of remorse. Then second, the power of antidote. The third, the power of resolve. And the fourth, the power of reliance. So these four powers. So now here, Gampopa describes so precisely, so perfectly, because all the negative things we did is for this life. not for enlightenment, not for benefit others, no, only for self-cherishing, ego-oriented. No? When our ego is deeply rooted, oriented, then all this mass negative karmas, like shooting all this through the confusion, hatred, and no purpose, no benefit. You see, it benefits no one. Only it hurts them and you eventually to yourself so much, you know. So this is used very precise, clearly. So looking at this, you know, all this, you know, negative action that I have did for no purpose, but I had to pay such a great price for suffering. So why I should have done this? Due to ignorance, due to our confusion, due to the self-cherishing, self-grasping, our ego becomes, so our ego is so sensitive, you know, very touchy, sensitive, you know, and that brings the suffering so much. So that to get rid of that, because there is no ego in first place. It's imputed, you know, it's exaggeration. Through the confusion, we now, and then it is so kind of, you know, I should say, very difficult to get rid of it because it was so deeply rooted. You know? So that habit. So we need so much effort, dedication, courage to do this. So please read this all step by step. Not so much difficulties there, and you can do it. You know, there's no difficulties on this. You see. So this all four powers explain, you know, like the example of the, you see here. First, we see, look at here, let's see here. Page 161, just, engaging in the conduct of the Bodhisattva says, like entrusting myself to a brave man when greatly afraid, by entrusting myself to this awakening mind, I shall be swiftly liberated, even if I have committed extremely unbearable evils. Why then do the conscientious not devote themselves to this? So, you know, why not rely on bodhicitta, practice bodhicitta, so forth. So there, the, you know, practice of the example here describes step by step Angulimala, you know, and the Nanda. In Tibetan, we have, you know, Kashunwaja Pame Jubala, Chine Padanta, Jurden, and our Tintable Namsa, Kao, Sonde, Tonde, digestions. The Nanda, example of Nanda. Such a negative, you know, mind, full of desire. Through the Buddha's help, he was free from that kind of non-virtue. Angulimala, who killed 999, no, then he need one person to kill. Last, then he saw the monk who was Buddha. Then he thought, this is the one I need to kill. So he rushed after the monk. And Buddha just standing there. So Angulimala with his old sharp knife, sword, started killing to Buddha. Buddha was not afraid, you see. Buddha said, what do you want? And he was shocked because when he was chasing all other people running here and there, to escape from their life. But Buddha was in front of him, so what do you want? And he was astonished. So then he said, are you not afraid? Buddha said, I'm not afraid. You are afraid. How you know? So you need one person. Today is the last day, to find one person. You are so afraid of that. I cannot get it. Why I should afraid? So then he was so out of the remorse. He threw the knife on the ground. Tell me where you are not afraid. So, I'm not afraid of you because you are afraid. You are so confused through the wrong teacher, wrong instruction. So there, then, the remorse was so immense because he killed 999 people. So Buddha gave the instruction to purify all this. So likewise, Nanda, Ajatashatru, the king, and Uttayana, the boy who killed his mother out of his desire, attachment. So they all purified, even though they have done such a heinous karma, negative karma, they could purify. So they're saying, we must study their life and then we practice dharma. So here what I'm saying is, here page 161, you just follow, thus the power of, sorry. Thus the power of the reliance purifies all the evil deeds, like being protected by a powerful person or like a person, especially by mantras. In all time, Ajata Shatru, evil doer who killed his father, purified his evil deeds and became a Bodhisattva by practicing the power of the reliance. Thus it is said, to one who lacks self-guidance and later possesses mindfulness is like a radiant moon being freed from clouds. For example, Nanda, Angulimala, Ajatashatru, and Uttayana. If evil deeds can be purified by even one individual power, why would they not be purified by all the four powers together? So even if you use one power, has all the ability to purify. If we use all the four powers, why not all our negative karmas and the obscurations will be purified? Like say Vajrasattva or any practice you do, first with the bodhicitta, with the compassion. So I will never repeat again. And using all the great mantras. And then bodhicitta, you see, rely on the bodhicittas fully. And then meditate on the emptiness. So in this kind of practice, none of these obscurations, karma, has place to abide there. Because our nature of the mind is totally pure. Only temporarily they're obscured. So through this kind of understanding, we can practice. So we should inspire, encourage ourselves. The sign of the purification of evil deeds appears in dreams. The invoking Dharani says, if in a dream we are vomiting bad food, drinking bad food, and drinking yogurt or milk and so forth, seeing the sun or moon walking in the sky, flying in the sky, seeing blazing fires, a huge mountain forest is fire is consuming, able to subdue buffalo, or the person wearing say black cloth, seeing a gathering of bhikshunis climbing on a milk-producing tree, or climbing on an elephant, or subduing bulls, climbing on the bulls, climbing on the mountain, lying throne, or mentioned, or hearing Dharma teachings, and so forth. It is a sign of separating from evil deeds. So this is a sign possible, Some maybe say, if you have more and more, especially your mind is more clear, precise, that's very important. Confidence. So this concludes the explanation of the purification practice. So as mentioned, so those are so precious, important. Then next, rejoicing virtues. So this is also very easy now. You just read, contemplate, rejoice. Rejoice is the special antidote for jealousy. And beseeching to take, not to take part in nirvana. First you say no. Then after that, requesting the will of Dharma teachings, Dharma be turned. This is a special antidote for ignorance. Without Dharma teachings, people don't know what's right, what's wrong, what's the virtue, what's non-virtue. When you talk people virtue, non-virtue, why it makes virtue, why it makes non-virtue. If I stay on an ant on the road, oh, don't kill the ant, why? It's non-virtue. Why it makes non-virtue? So people have no idea. No conscious. So Dharma is so precious, you see. These details, if you look at this, next person, a good citizen. We say, usually they say, civilized, a civilized person, what they call civilized, wearing a nice jacket with a tie, so be a civilized, clean, So also like Milarepa, wearing racket clothes, unclean, so uncivilized, yes, Civilized, not civilized, is the mind. When your mind is rich with bodhicitta, wisdom is civilized. Compassion, and your mind is so kind of rude, unruly mind, negative, how to destroy other life. It's uncivilized mind, That's how Dharma is so precious, you see. Then beseeching not to take parinirvana is contemplating the impermanence. Not only all people, all sentient beings, those who are born, they die. Even Buddha, who has the 32 major marks and minor marks, great masters who can fly in the sky, they also die. no matter you say they achieve eternal life, but now we don't see them. So we're asking them, please stay with us until the end of the samsara. Help us to free us from the samsara. So the reflecting on the impermanence. So these are you just read, not so difficult. And dedication, as you know, is very important. Not to waste all the good deeds that you have done. You dedicate for the enlightenment of all sentient beings. Now, I think I said many times, even we, the Buddhist, not Buddhist, sorry, Buddhist, in the world, there's a lot of Buddhist teachings, Buddhist country. Business people, they go to the monastery and they make offerings. So they, please pray so that my business will be good, successful. They don't say, please pray for me to achieve enlightenment. Please pray, dedicate every sentient being is free from samsara. These are just by the way, actually, what the principle, the objective of their offering is to become famous, to become rich, So that's not the Buddha's teaching. It's the samsaric teaching. It's the samsaric motivation. So we dedicate every sentient beings to free from samsara, achieve enlightenment. All the virtues that I have accumulated, and all the sentient beings, and the nirvana, the enlightened beings, all that virtues are accumulated in 3 times, past, present, future. The root of the innate virtue, may all this special cause, myself and all sentient beings, free from samsara and achieve the complete enlightenment, Buddhahood. You see that, that's the dedication, So you read those, and they're so precious. And then here, the actual ceremony. Page 163, number 2, we have there. Actual ceremony. Expressing the commitment is explained in the collection of transcendent instruction. When the Aya Manjushri was born as a king Amba, where limitless eons ago, he went to the Buddha, who's called Meghanada Gosha, and obtained the instructions on the development of aspiration, bodhicitta, and took the Bodhisattva's vow at the same time. The Manjushri at that time, aspiration bodhicitta cultivated, at the same time, the action bodhicitta's vow took together. At the same time, likewise, we also should take them together. It is said, from the beginning to end, from the beginningless to the endless of samsara, of beginningless and endless samsara, in order to perform limitless activities for the benefit of sentient beings. In front of Lord of the world, Mr. Buddha, in front of the Buddha, I cultivate bodhicitta and so forth. So repeat this 3 times. Or one can receive the bodhicitta instruction by reciting the brief words from engaging in the conduct of bodhisattva, bodhicitta avatara by Shantideva. Here we have seen, just as the previous Sugatas. Sugata means Buddha, Buddhas of the past, gave birth to an awakened mind, cultivated aspiration bodhicitta, and just as they successively dwelled in their practice, the action bodhicitta, step by step, in the bodhisattva's practice. Likewise, for the sake of all living, all sentient beings, for the sake of all life, do I give birth to an awakened mind, so I will cultivate aspiration bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successively follow the practice. So the practices. The aspiration bodhicitta and action bodhicitta we should receive from the Buddha, as we did the last time. See, repeat this 3 times. If one wishes to cultivate bodhicitta and take the vow separately, then recite the words separately and receive it. This completes the actual actions Bodhisattvas among actual action Bodhisattvas vow ceremony. Conclusion, the third conclusion, make offering in appreciation for the triple gem and meditate on the vast joy and happiness about the great accomplishment that has been achieved. It is said, a person with discriminating wisdom holds bodhicitta with a great clear mind. In order to further this, he should joyfully uplift his mind this way and so forth. Thus, the tradition of Shantideva have been explained through the preparation and actual ceremony and conclusion. So this completes the Shantideva's system of the practice Dharma, of Bodhicitta. So as last time we did the ceremony, Bodhisattva's vow. So here now, explained so precisely. So we should appreciate this. Read again, meditate again, and then reinforce the practice that I'm so fortunate. As I mentioned, this is always so good. I'm so fortunate. Even though I have a lot of afflictions, obscurations, but I have the tool how to handle them. I will practice bodhicitta to purify my mental afflictions. And rejoice, appreciate, and then think of the Buddha, see, and great Bodhisattvas who, there's a lot of stories. It is not just a myth, it's actual living. So there's so many stories, so many God benefits. Now, the world, you can see in the world, you can see the preciousness of the Buddha's wisdom, compassion, and just appreciate, rejoice, and cultivate the mind, exercise, purify. We may repeat mistake again and again, but we just, without flinching, without going backwards, always go forward. One step, half step, 1 step, 2 steps more forward, and purify, meditate, practice, develop courage, and encourage others, our Sangha members, help others to do these things. So, as I mentioned, when somebody says, this is strange, you say, this is a civilized practice, This practice is not to become a wild, but this practice is to how to become civilized, how to make a better human being, a more kind, more compassion, and more tolerant, more courage. See, how to make oneself a better person, how to help others, bring more peace. You see, sometimes people say, look at those Buddhist countries, they're so bad. Don't take their example, this bad person, Just look at the Buddha's teaching. These Buddhist countries, there's some they don't practice Buddha's teaching, We should understand that, So then next week we'll read the other ones. Okay. Yeah, anybody has any questions? We have a few minutes. Looks like all the questions are resolved, dissolved into emptiness.
Thank you, Kenshin. I want to thank you again for
Okay.
the pure clarity of
Oh,
that understanding.
yeah.
I get it now,
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
getting
Yeah,
attached.
we have a lot of different questions, but
Yeah.
it's all sometimes culture related, sometimes, some individual related, but
Yeah.
with us, we're talking about is universal. We all individuals have the responsibility. We have to practice sincerely. If anybody can do something, the Buddha said, I'm so happy you do it, Don't discourage yourself, If you can chant one mantra, I'm so happy you can do it. Please do, do good things. You see, there's no prejudice, there's no judgment.
Kempo.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, was somebody else waiting? I had a question, but I'll wait. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The teaching.
Yes. What do you have? Question.
Dealing with the end of life of my dog.
Oh.
My husband and I have been taking care of him, trying to do a hospice at home for him, trying to avoid euthanasia.
Mm-hmm.
Very difficult. So we're worried that he's in pain. We've been giving him pain meds, but at this point they may not be strong enough, and he's also not eating and he's not able to drink. So we're trying to keep him hydrated. We have an appointment with a vet tomorrow so that we can with them if they can do anything like come in so that he can continue to have pain medication some other way, and that's stay hydrated like an IV or something like that. He has been okay. I mean, I've been doing a lot of playing mantras for him and that kind of thing.
Yes, that's why now see, like say you have the compassion, you take responsibility because of Dharma, because you appreciate yourself. I'm so fortunate I have Dharma in my life. See, now I can do better. I can see the suffering, So I'm helpless to help others because I don't have enough wisdom, enough realization. See? That's why I need to dedicate to practice Bodhicitta. See? So then when the dogs, just to everybody, if you have a pet, dog, cat, anything, anyone, let them die naturally. You try to help whatever you can. You see,
Yeah.
Some special whatever medicine, but not try to. That's called taking care of. mercy, let's say this kind of mercy killing, like those. No, I think it is not good. Let die naturally. You help as much as you can, Sometimes like painkiller is okay, but otherwise, no, easy, taking easy life, So you can see how they go through step by step. And you get also such a great lesson. This go through this way. I have to also go through this.
Yeah.
I can see the reality nature of everybody. We try to take it easy, enjoy our life, and then avoiding all these other things as much as possible. That doesn't solve the problem. Doesn't solve the problem. So you see, that's means I mentioned, Dharma is the wisdom. Dharma is the source of courage, compassion. So how to take responsibility to yourself and to help others. So precious.
Yeah. It's difficult. I hope
Yeah.
to that point soon where we can get the stronger medication for him.
Mhm.
He has just started, and he wasn't doing this before. He started to yelp sometimes, which means he's having pain because he
Mhm.
hasn't made any sound in a long time. So we knew that it's not good.
Mhm.
And I, try and sit with him, say some mantras, comfort him, and then he goes
Yeah.
back into his
Mhm.
kind of restful space.
Yeah.
And it's hard. My husband, he's really trying to understand my point of view.
Yeah.
Buddhist.
Yes.
So he just doesn't want to see him in this, in terrible pain.
Yes.
Well, it's hard. It's really, we're trying to do the right thing together.
Yes. Yes. Very difficult, That's why sometimes Buddhists are told the tears built up in the eyes, Like Chandresic, tears built in the eyes.
Yeah.
Obsession basis immense. The excruciating pain is so immense. What I can do, So they try life after life, You see, if one life is not successful, they try next life, until the end of the samsara. There's a mention, as long as the space endures, I may remain in the samsara to help sentient beings. You see, that's the bodhicitta. That's what you're talking about. How to refresh your bodhicitta. How to refresh, So our mind, nature of the mind itself is bodhicitta, but it's covered by this adventitious delusion. So we try to uncover this mind through these practices, meditation. So that's what the Buddha's teaching is so precious. We need in the world, you see, more than ever before.
Thank you, Kempo.
Mhm.
Do our best.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but try.
Yes.
Yes. Always have to try, You fail 9 times, try 10 times.
Okay. I really appreciate you. I know it wasn't exactly on the,
Yes.
and I'm sorry I had to leave today.
That's good. I appreciate your
Time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Alex,
Oh,
Alex has a question.
yeah, Alex, yes, go ahead.
Hi, Rimshay. I'm thinking about accumulation of merit. Like, for instance, this afternoon, just breaking it down. What can I do this afternoon? Like, say I'm going to go for a walk and what can I do to accumulate merit this afternoon? Does that mean that I should give some things away, or should I say mantras? Or, I mean, just like today, how can I accumulate merit today?
Now today is how I accumulate, enrich my bodhicitta. You see, you just enrich your bodhicitta, reflecting on the suffering of the sentient beings, samsara. Okay. And then any negativities in your mind, which surrounds in your heart, how I have to dispel them out, get rid of them as much as I can. They come repeatedly, they come around all the time. How I have to get rid of them. So that's the practice you see every time, whether you're walking, or doing anything, or meditating.
So it's kind of in your heart and in your mind?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what's called awareness and mindfulness.
All right. I'll keep doing that. Thank you.
Yes, please do. Thank you so much.
Rinpoche, with your permission, last week you mentioned the Sutra of Concentration on Meditation.
Yes.
I just want to share it with everybody. It's available on Amazon if you want it. It's what Rinpoche mentioned last week.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Please take a deep breath. Inhale. Expand your chest and your heart. And meditate your mind as like space. And exhale all our delusions. And once more, please inhale fully and rejoice all the opportunity today we got here. And without forgetting the discussions that we went through, just refresh in your mind. So then just investigate if they make sense or not. If they make sense, then I will put into practice. I will be a better person, develop better and better. Then please inhale one more and pervade our mind to all the sentient beings. May they have all the peace and happiness and all the sufferings physically, mentally they are going through. May they free from all the sufferings. And we all may achieve complete Buddhahood. So this we exhale. So this is called mind training. So we train the mind this way and appreciate, rejoice. Okay, then Anila, please say some closing prayers.
Concise lifelong prayer for Rinpoche, you who are richly endowed with the glorious wealth of Dharma knowledge, who, through reflecting and meditating, have actualized the self-aware absolute reality, and shine with the 100,000 rays of ethical discipline of the Buddha Dharma. May you, Kenshin Ratnal Zawa, live long. Dorje Chang, Tilopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Tilopa, Lord Gampopa, Phagma Drupa, and Lord Drikumpa. Please bestow upon us the most auspicious blessings of all the Kagyu Lamas. By this virtue, may I achieve the all-knowing state, and may all those who travel the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death cross the ocean of samsara by defeating all enemies' confusion. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise, where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. I pray that the Lama may have good health and long life. I pray that your Dharma activities spread far and wide. I pray that I may not be separated from you. Manjushri and likewise Samantabhadra realized ultimate state Buddhahood. I will follow in their path and share the merit with all sentient beings. By the blessing of the Buddhas who attained the three kayas, by the blessing of the truth of unchanging Dharma as such, by the blessing of the indivisible Sangha order, may the merit I share bear fruit. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind, root and lineage lamas, divine assembly of Yidams, assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Yogins, Yoginis, and Dakinis dwelling in the 10 directions. Please hear my prayer. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, and arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. And through that, may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. May the torment of suffering not arise even at the time of my death. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of mind as such and pervading clarity of Dharmata. May I in any case gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo. By the virtues collected in the 3 times by myself and all sentient beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious Buddhahood. May the teachings of the great Drikungpa Ratnashiri, omniscient Lord of the Dharma, Master of Interdependence, continue through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. Thank you, Rinpoche, for another wonderful day.
Thank you, everybody. Please take it easy.